Good afternoon, and it's 1 o'clock here at WUSB 90.1 FM. Yes, and it is time for Play It Forward. That's right, and it's Allison and the crew getting ready for some serious talk. Allison, are you there?
Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to Play It Forward. I'm Allison. Thank you, Wiz. You are listening to Play It Forward on WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 and 107.3 FM. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So alongside of me are my co-hosts and fellow advocates of Play It Forward, Kurt Hall and Sanjana Iyer. Momentarily, we will introduce our guest, Linda Ventura. Linda is the executive director and founder of Thomas's Hope Foundation. But we will be speaking with you in a minute. But in the meantime, let's pass the mic to Sanjana for a closer look at Play It Forward.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The Play It Forward project is a nonprofit that raises awareness, educates, and advocates for the fentanyl opioid crisis with a focus on prevention and recovery through peer-to-peer advocacy. So on our show, we bring in guests from the field of addiction, people in recovery, and more, and we discuss illicit drugs, fentanyl, substance use disorder, and towards 2 p.m., we shout out some welcoming and accessible resources. We broadcast from Stony Brook's live radio station every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m., and we are also streaming our episodes on Spotify podcasts under Play It Forward, so please go check that out. And you can also visit us on our YouTube channel at the Play It Forward Project, where you can listen to our previous shows on the go, and be sure to follow us at sbu.playitforward. Lastly, I'm excited to introduce the Play It Forward Club, which is a new club on campus. I'm lucky to be on the e-board. Yeah. And so let me just tell you a little bit about our last GBM in case you guys were wondering. We actually decorated Easter eggs and we filled them with little messages, you know, whether they were to advocate for what we are all about or even just positive messages, which I think we could all be using at all times. Then we just spread them around campus. So if you're walking around campus and you see an egg, feel free to crack it open. That might be us.
And if you see an egg, give us a follow on Instagram.
Yeah,
definitely.
let us
We'd
know.
love to hear that you found an egg. Take a picture, post it, tag us.
Yes. Thanks, Kurt, for that.
So, yeah, your participation is so important, so together we can all make a difference. Please, please join us today. Now presenting is Kurt, who will share a few facts about fentanyl.
Hello, everyone. Fentanyl is a highly potent synthetic opioid that is 30 to 50 times stronger than heroin. As little as 2 milligrams of fentanyl has been killing many people every day. For a little perspective, 2 milligrams of fentanyl is just enough to cover Abraham Lincoln's nose on a penny. This deadly opioid kills one person on average every 11 minutes or over 200 lives each day, making it the leading cause of death for adults ages 18 to 45. That means during our hour-long show, approximately 5 people will lose their life to this deadly opioid. Wow. This is also similar to a commercial jet crashing every single day. Let that sink in, and here is Allison to introduce our guest.
Thanks, Kurt and Sanjana. So I'm so excited to have advocate extraordinaire Linda Ventura with us today. Linda is the founder and the director of Thomas's Hope. Thomas was her son. She lost her son March 14th to celebrate an anniversary, 2012. I'm so sorry for the loss of your beautiful boy.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell our listeners about yourself and about Thomas?
So Thomas was only 21 when he passed, and he was a smart, charismatic, sarcastic, athletic boy who could light up a room with a smile coming in. And he also was a deviant thief while using substances. So there is that dichotomy of the person on substance use disorder. So he was hijacked by drugs, and ultimately they claimed his life. What was particularly inflammatory was that the healthcare system always had to have him fail before he would get the appropriate level of care. So a fatal progressive disease was allowed to become a fatal progressive disease. And that's what really stoked my fire to go on and change laws in New York State and to bring awareness to all of this.
You have done amazing work, and I applaud you for this is such a fight we're all in together. And so everyone's going to learn about Linda's work and what you do in the community, and most importantly, how you advocate with our local politicians and even the Senate and Congress, right? You're going to tell us all about that.
Yes.
Well, let's start at the beginning. So maybe let's talk a little bit about Thomas's addiction and how that all...
Thomas's story is not unique.
Okay.
So everyone really, every family or everyone on Long Island knows someone that's struggling or has passed to substance use disorder. So instead of staying in his death, what happened was I was quiet for about a year, and rightfully so. I was grieving. And then I really, my higher power said, let's do this. And Thomas's Hope Foundation was born. And quite literally, very quickly, I started to speak all over the state. In 2014, started to go up to Albany, and I actually brought my son's ashes in a clear Tupperware container.
Oh, wow.
And at an Assemblyman Cusick, there were a few assemblymen that were running this. They were all insurance companies on the phone, treatment providers, and I wasn't even supposed to be sitting at the big table, but I wouldn't move. And the president of the New York State Insurance Plans made a woman, a constituent of one of the assemblymen, cry, and she had just lost her son. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit pissed. I was fired up. So when it was my turn to speak, he turned around. He really was a pathetic little man. And he turned and wouldn't maintain eye contact. And I do remember getting very loud on that microphone and saying,
good for you.
My father always told me that you maintain eye contact with the person you're speaking with, and I am especially speaking to you, and I'm quite sure I earned your respect. And there were about 300 people in that room, no one spoke, and he turned. And I ended up saying what I needed to say, and I slid Tom's ashes down the table, and I said, that's failure at outpatient. What else would you like to know?
Oh, wow.
And Assemblyman Cusick said, we're not trying to be argumentative, Linda. And I said, I'm not. If you'd like me to be, we can go there. And the conference ended. Fast forward a couple of months, I was one of the first people to make a public service announcement for New York State. And a gentleman by the name of Rob Kent, who was the general counsel for Oasis, was in that room, and he came to my filming, and I was looking at him, and he goes, I want you to know that you changed history that day, because I went back to the governor's office and said, you better write these laws, you better pass them, you better sign them, because she will have the state at your doorstep. So, that was the beginning of our walk, and there were many people that really pushed these the bills through, but that's what it was. So every year we would go up, and a gentleman by the name of Avi Israel, he's from Buffalo, and he lost his son Michael, who was the same age as Thomas, but Michael was prescribed into substance use and ultimately committed suicide with a shotgun under his chin in front of his dad.
Do you find that the loudest voices or the people that you encounter the most are parents?
I would say parents have the most powerful perspective that you can have, because you have to have skin in the game, and you have to have walk that walk to really be able to speak about it.
Absolutely.
And siblings.
Let's rewind.
And siblings,
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I want to rewind a little bit just to talking about what Thomas's Hope is.
So Thomas's Hope, in 2017, I went to John Flanagan, who was the House Majority Leader at the time. And really, this was a funny story. I called to make an appointment with him, and they called me back, and they said the senator would like to invite 21 other senators to join it. And I put him on hold, and I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, wow, how did we get here?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll see if I can make that work. Yeah.
So, brought a business plan, because I am, I'm a business person. So I brought a business plan and said what I wanted to build. So Thomas's Hope now has really morphed into, we are a peer-run agency. We are certified peer recovery advocates. And so we help people get to treatment. We help people in early recovery. We will drive them to treatment. We will drive them to detox, and then we help them get housing, and we stay part of their journey for as long as they want us to be part of their journey. We do sober Saturday activities, so they, we're always inviting them in so that they can form this network, this new network, and learn how to have fun and recover.
Yes.
We also, which is especially important to me, do a tremendous amount of family work. The families are often sicker than the individuals struggling with substance use.
That's so...
And they're so codependent. Their drug is their loved one.
It's where it's rooted.
Yes. So we need to change that perspective and give them education. And we do run an education series every Tuesday night. It's a continuous 6 weeks done by a great facilitator, Karen Reese. So it's always changing. So, people have to, I insist on them doing that education.
Yeah.
Because they need to learn their role in the disease.
And it's easy, I think, for family members or loved ones to put that focus onto the person.
You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should.
Yes. And
I don't have a problem. It's you.
Yes.
It's you,
very
it's
easy
you,
to see their problems and not your own, or how you're contributing, enabling, and that just perpetuates the
I don't
cycle.
even like the word enable anymore. I don't use it. I use the word disable.
Oh,
you
okay.
disable your loved one.
Love that.
And you keep them sick by disabling them.
Love that.
So, it's just, we have to tweak the language
Absolutely.
and how we look at things.
Right.
And it's so important.
So how many people do you have currently that you're helping? Like, do you have a rough number or an average a year?
We field about 1,000 calls a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
we field a lot of calls.
Wow.
Does everyone stay connected? No, but they're always coming in.
Okay.
So we're always willing to, always willing to help anybody.
And how does that process work? Somebody calls and they say,
they end up
my son, my daughter.
Yep. And or the person calls and says, yep.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is, like on Thomas's anniversary, I had 6 young men that sent me a message that said, I'm eternally grateful for you helping me, and I'm sorry that this day has to happen for you every year.
Wow.
So, you don't do it for anything, but it's really nice to get that every once in a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, I bet. So you guys, so they call, they say, I'm ready for treatment. I have someone ready for treatment, and you
so
guys...
I don't deal with, the family can call and say, my loved one needs the expert, and I go, that's awesome. What are you planning on doing about your involvement with the disease?
Right.
And then, so we start the conversation there, and I go, you can give your loved one my phone number.
Okay.
And when they're ready, they will call me.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything on your
say
so.
Right. So they say, I'm ready.
They say, I'm ready. I make phone calls all over New York State.
Okay.
And we get them into someplace.
Now, if they don't have insurance, do you guys help with that?
So,
Is there...
thankfully in New York State, the addiction treatment centers that are run by New York State Oasis take them without insurance.
Okay.
So there's always a way to get in.
Great. And then they help them once they're in there?
They help them get an emergency Medicaid application, and they get treatment.
Love that.
That's
awesome.
important for everyone to know that.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, people will criticize, I don't want them going there. And I have to tell you that at the ATCs is what they call them, they are state employees. So they are well paid, which in this field is hard to come by. And they are some of the best counselors that I have ever met. They're not fresh out of school. They're very seasoned.
Right.
And they
They've
really care.
Yeah, yeah.
They really, and
That's a key word.
That's a key word. They really are committed to what's going on, and will help them, and will stay in touch with us so that we have a really safe discharge plan. Because unfortunately, I see it way too many times. St. Charles, too many places discharged to a homeless shelter.
Yep.
So you have
with
just
no aftercare, or
no aftercare.
Or there is aftercare. You're going to have to follow up with us,
right?
And who in their right mind? At least I can speak for myself. When I was out there, if I got 30 days sober and then I'm back out on the street, chances are I'm not going to be going for follow up.
What does that say to that person? You're worth a homeless shelter again.
Not only that, their chance of overdosing is much
Higher.
yeah. Oh, my
higher
God.
because they have lowered their tolerance.
Correct.
So they're really setting them up for failure again.
100%. And I have been screaming about that because it's not supposed to happen. So I really encourage people that does happen to file a Justice Center complaint, to file a complaint, because it's medical malpractice, to be quite honest with you. It's medical malpractice. So we keep also paying. Most of our folks are also on Medicaid. So on a very taxed system, those first 14 days, 30 days are the most expensive of treatment. So that makes me wonder, are the for-profit agencies, they just like to keep clients coming back and coming back and coming back?
Yeah, it does
So
make
it
you
just
wonder.
gives you a lot to think about.
Absolutely.
Do we really want to do what's best for them? Right now with the opioid settlement money that Suffolk County has, certainly Northwell Health and Catholic Health System didn't need an infusion for capital improvements because they are some of the wealthiest corporations
Thank
on
you.
Long Island.
Yep.
However, isn't it amazing that Steve Ballone, on leaving office, is working for Northwell Health? Makes you wonder about that last, round of settlement dollars that went out.
Right.
So that really should be looked into, because I don't know.
doesn't
It should
feel
go to grassroots organizations. It should be going for housing. We could establish recovery housing. Pilgrim State right now has all those empty buildings. Why aren't we utilizing what's already here on Long Island and establishing that people could have a little apartment and have something to grow into, right? We also do, I was a recipient of one of the awards, and we do, I don't even like to call it vocational or educational, it's really life coaching.
Yes.
And really taking people that have no idea what they want to do, little goals, and we'll turn them into bigger goals as long as you stay connected.
I want to talk about the sober houses real quick,
Yeah.
because we talked about that on our little call before today, and I'm going to butcher it, but the verification or the
So NYSAR, New York
thank you.
State
Yes.
Association of Recovery Residences,
Yes.
and I'm proud to say that I'm on the board of that. So New Hope Rising, which runs the best recovery houses on Long Island, and they're run by Danielle Brushy and Lauren McNamara, and they have really started the process in New York State.
And what does that look like?
So that looks like this, that there's a certification process that recovery residents must adhere to and must pass on a yearly basis. And it's a standard of which they have to aspire to.
and that is it is so necessary.
It is so critical because we have people that are massacring. They're murdering.
Yeah.
They're murdering people that come in there.
Yeah.
There's more overdose deaths than I care to even
Sober
mention.
houses are not sober.
They are not sober.
Yeah.
But there are some that are run very well, but they're so few and far between. And without, so we can talk about recovery houses, women with children have no place
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's mind-blowing.
So Morningstar has one program, but children are only up to the age of 5.
In only
So-
one program. I mean,
Yes, and
that's-
only one program
yeah.
that can handle about 20 women.
Okay,
So and then what do you do when your child turns 6?
Yeah.
You sell them to the gypsies.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do I do then?
Right, right.
If I have no place safe to go.
There is and just in my experience too, which seeing there's such a lack of help for women. Just in general,
Such a lack of help.
We have Hope House, which is long term, but that's for men.
Yes.
And where do we have a long term program for women? Where do we really have anything that caters specifically to women?
We don't.
Right.
We don't. And women often come to treatment much later because they're ashamed. And if they have children, they're even more ashamed.
And if they have children,
Then they're worried about CPS.
Yeah,
they're
of
worried about
course.
then they're being sex trafficked. They will prostitute themselves if they have to.
Right.
And it's not because they want to.
No.
So this is not about people choosing to live this lifestyle. This is about drugs, the most
and that's-
powerful drug in the world, robbing their souls.
And I think that that's something that is worth mentioning is that none of us chose this. None of us chose to.
you
to
don't
make
my
these-
son at 15 didn't wake up and say, I don't really want to play Division I lacrosse. I think I'll become a heroin
Yeah,
addict
that sounds
and
like a good
die
idea.
at 21
Yeah, right,
and
right.
destroy my family.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be my life's plan.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
nobody
think that
chooses
over the
that.
years we have moved away from that a little bit. There's always more room for improvement as far as, you know, eradicating the stigma that's associated with it. But
And
yeah,
the drug is unimportant. I
Yeah.
think that's really something really important
substance
to say.
is not important at all.
Alcohol
Yeah,
is a very powerful drug.
Absolutely.
So we have more people that die of alcoholism
Well,
and
and
alcohol-related deaths.
the kicker for me is that I can walk into 7-Eleven and as I'm getting my water, I can also get a little nip of Fireball, you know, because they sell liquor now at
Yeah,
at
it's
7-Eleven, you know.
unbelievable.
It's right in your face everywhere you go.
Right in your face everywhere
And
you
so
go.
socially acceptable too.
So, you know, when I hear, they go, well, they're only drinking. I
Yeah.
go,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
They're only, but they're 15. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
only
where it
drinking?
starts.
You know,
that's
that's
the gateway.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know, so why is that okay?
Right,
It's
right.
not okay.
Right, absolutely.
None of it is okay.
What's even more interesting is we had a couple of guests on talking about sober living, and it's, even with alcohol, it seems like there's a stigma associated with being sober.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
totally.
It's like, where can you win?
Unfortunately, and Kurt, I know you'll agree, is people who had a problem with opiates
Oh,
will
don't
say,
even get me started on that.
will
Yeah.
say, well, I never had a problem with drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it will
that is
always
so common.
lead you right back to where you started.
Yep.
And
Might
there
not be
is-
as quick, but
it's
over
not-
time you
oh,
will
100%.
I know. I see so many people come through. I've seen them come through Hope House, and they come in with a heroin problem, and then they leave. And 6 months later, I see them with an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And
They just substitute
yeah,
one for
you know,
the other.
and there's
Exactly.
yeah. That always fascinated me.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, and then with the parents, I say, you know, you challenge them. How about having a holiday or a celebration without anything being served?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about my guests? Well, what about them? If they can't get through one party without you serving something, then they need to look at themselves.
That is also something I've seen
And
very
you know,
often.
what I've often said to parents is, so if your loved one was allergic to peanut butter, would you serve peanut butter and jelly for dinner?
Yeah.
If that would cause them to go into anaphylactic shock and die. Well, no. I go, then don't serve anything else.
Right. Right.
You know, you need to support them in their road to recovery.
Absolutely.
Model the behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
model the
Yeah.
behavior.
Well, I think that this is, believe it or not, we're at 125 already. Yeah. So I want to thank you all for joining us for the first half of our show, Play It Forward. We appreciate your support, and we hope that you'll stay tuned for the second half of the show. Tune in to our show every other Friday here on WUSB.FM from 1 to 2 p.m. And please don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram at SBU.playitforward. And you can also find us on Spotify now, the Play It Forward project. We have all of our previous shows cataloged on there. So please give us a follow. And also, if you listen to one of our shows, you're able to then give us a 5-star review. So I would really love if everybody could get on Spotify, listen to one or all of our shows. I recommend all of our shows, and then give us a nice 5-star review. I think that would be great. And while Allison is queuing up the song, I wanted to comment on the Thomas's Hope Foundation pamphlet that I have here. I love the artwork on the front, and I actually had a tapestry with this design on it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I love it. I forgot to do Allison's mid-rap. By now, almost everyone knows someone who has died this way. We must remember that these deaths are preventable. Each one has the power to make a difference. To all parents, we understand these conversations can be challenging, but do not fool yourself into thinking, not my kid. Let's equip ourselves with knowledge, resources, and empathy for these crucial discussions with our kids. And to everyone, talk to the people you love. Your words and support can be life-changing. It may be the most crucial discussion you'll ever have with them. One pill will kill. And I would like to play a song, Dermot Kennedy, What Have I Done? Just got a nice message, and it's just a really nice song.
And what about that song by Dermot Kennedy?
So Dermot was an Irish lad that was playing on the streets of Ireland, busking. I think
Love
that's right.
that.
That's what it's called, busking. Busking, right? Yeah, it is. Busking. And he is now selling out 90,000
Really?
seat stadiums. Yeah, he's incredible. Yeah.
An Irishman.
Yeah, Irishman.
Sláinte.
Yes.
And we
yes.
just had St. Patty's Day.
That's right.
So it's perfect.
I had a nice sober St. Patty's Day.
Awesome.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
in
Alcohol free.
Manhattan, They do a sober St. Patrick's Day every year, and I'll share the flyer with you next year. They actually bring musicians, Irish step dancing
Really?
from Ireland.
Wow.
And one of the schools in Manhattan, and it is one of the most fun. They march in the parade.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they go to this church. And they serve dinner, and
Very
it's
cool.
a really great night. Like
Wow.
that would be a great thing for the guys from Hope
That would
House
be.
to go to.
That would be. Wow.
Yeah.
We got to encourage more of these sober events.
Yes. Yes.
Mocktail parties.
Mocktails, yes.
What they're trying to do is get it onto every college campus, and to give, to bring it back to what really St. Patrick's Day is about.
Yeah.
It's not a day of drinking.
And we will be right back with our special guest, Linda. You are listening to WUSB Stony Brook, 90.1 and 107.3 FM.
And we're back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Allison of Play It Forward. I'm so excited to have advocate extraordinaire Linda Ventura with us today.
In your thing there, I would say instead of saying not my kid, I would tell parents to think, why not my kid? Because, we have to start thinking differently. That switch goes on
Yeah.
with the use of the first substance, right, that they touch. It could be a joint, a cigarette, a beer, right, alcohol, or
Kickstarts it.
Yeah, kickstarts
totally.
it.
Yeah, I spoke to some students from St. Joseph's University yesterday. And that was something I said was that, I had such poor coping skills when I was younger, and found that alcohol, that was the first thing that I started with, and that became my coping skill. And over time, now, 7.5 years sober, I have a lot of really healthy coping skills, and that would be a choice that I would make, because I have all the tools that I need right now, and I know what I need to do. And if I were to go back out there, that would be an active choice. But once I made that choice, all bets are off, because then the addiction kicks in, and I'm off to the races again.
You're off to the races.
Yeah.
When you work your recovery will work.
That's
but
it.
It's an active, the rent is due every single day.
That's right. Absolutely.
You have to do those activities. When we talk to parents also, is how do you show up when you get home? If you show up consistently, walk in the door and say, I had a bad day, I need a drink.
Mm-hmm.
When your 9-year-old comes in the door and says, well, I had a bad day, I'm going to
Drink,
I'm
yeah.
going to have something to drink.
Yep.
But this is the modeling behavior, and young children really do
They pick up
idolize
on
their
that.
parents.
They pick up on that
also.
stuff, though.
And we need to be modeling behavior that says, I had a bad day. Let's have ice cream for dinner and watch a really good movie, and I just want to be with you guys tonight. Or let's go for a bicycle ride because I need to get outside and breathe some fresh air and be with my favorite people.
Well,
right?
and we were talking about, too, is kind of giving kids an outlet, healthy outlet, early on.
And not solving all their problems for me. I'm the youngest of 5, but my mom, when I was young, when you came home, you always know when something's bothering your children. And she would somehow get you to talk about it. But she used to always say to me, how are you going to make tomorrow better?
Oh, I like that.
So it was a conversation that we would have, but I had to think of the answer.
Yeah. Guide them to it a little bit, but then let them figure it out on their own.
You need to, we don't allow our kids to think and feel and.
Well, and I think too with social media and screens and stuff, not only are we not allowing them, but we're allowing other people to tell them how to feel, how to think.
So scary.
And what kind of message is that? Yeah, Sanjana, chime in.
Well, I mean, I liked what you said about modeling behavior. I feel like that's super important. But I feel like we've had conversations in the past where it's like so part of like American culture, right, to always try new things. And so when kids are starting, with experimenting at such an early age, and I feel like social media like adds on to that pressure where there's stigma on either staying sober or also, starting at an early age. What sort of conversations should parents be having with their kids, and like how early would that be?
Children know so much so early.
Way more than we give them credit for.
Way more than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
The average age of onset for a boy is 10 and a half years old.
Wow.
So that's when that child will try their first drink or drug.
Wow.
And for a girl, 11. So, I think at every age, there's a program that they do offer in schools. Not all school districts do it, and it's called Too Good for Drugs. And parents don't like the name of it.
Yeah.
Because they say, I don't want them to learn about that, but they should rename it because it is teaching healthy coping skills. So for kindergartners, we're not talking about drugs or alcohol. We're talking about healthy coping skills.
Yeah.
We're talking about, yoga poses that they can use when they're stressed,
Yes.
or breathing
Love that.
techniques.
Yep.
All of those things that our
Meditation,
children need.
Yeah.
And it follows them through school. But certainly by the time children are 8 or 9 years, you have to be having those conversations with them. They are seeing so much more on the bus, in school,
Online.
Yeah.
It's, they're seeing it all on TV.
Well, and I was just going to say that is the amount of advertising that goes into advertising for alcohol. No, I'm talking just for alcohol. You go to the beach in the summertime. What the planes flying back and forth of the banners? What do they have? All of them. The only thing that's not alcohol is Dunkin' Donuts. The rest is all alcohol banners flying across the beach.
Wow.
And you go to the beach, and what's everybody doing? They're drinking and they're smoking weed.
Yeah.
100%.
That's it.
100%.
And what we're going to go to the beach and we're going to have a party. No, why don't you go to the beach and go for a walk, pick up some seashells, go for a swim? I don't know.
Yeah. It's so socially acceptable.
It is. Yep.
And that's part of the problem.
And with the legalization of marijuana and their infinite wisdom.
But again,
I won't add the word that I want to say to that.
Why are they doing that?
Money, revenue.
There you go.
That they
There you
think
go.
is
There you
going
go.
to be money and revenue.
Yeah, and we'll throw a portion of that money to recovery or to whatever education.
But they didn't put the infrastructure in before legalizing it, and unfortunately, the prevention message to kids is now, well, it's legal. So you've taken out whatever a parent could say.
Yep.
And there are a lot of parents smoking weed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just as normal as alcohol now.
Oh,
I don't
100%.
remember it being that. It was like
you can't
really
drive
bad.
on the LIE without. I can be in my car and I'm like,
Oh, you go
my
into the
God.
city?
oh, forget
Oh,
it.
you
my
smell.
That's all you
God.
smell.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're getting contact high just walking around in there.
110%.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I find it offensive to me because I don't want to smell that.
Right.
So where's my rights?
Tough luck.
Yep.
Nobody cares.
Nobody
It's
cares.
all
Yeah.
about money.
Yep.
It is.
Really
It
does
really
come down
is.
to money, and I feel so angry. I really do, because unless you lose a child, or in my case, a brother, people need to really step up. This is not just our problem here at the table. This is all of our problem. I mean,
I want to know, where is the outrage? So, Kurt, you said airplane full of people every single day. COVID came and we
forget it.
shut down everything. So this governor right now will not declare a public health emergency, which would loosen the reins on getting money out to organizations to help, because they are sitting on the bulk of the opioid settlement money. So they keep subrogating those funds so that she can bring it back to her general fund. So we fought for that law to be passed, for that lockbox with the Attorney General, who, brought those funds home here.
Yeah.
So that lockbox has been established, but they're still playing games. If you declare a public health emergency, they can get the money out the door so much faster.
but they're not, because.
But they're not.
Oh.
Well, I don't know why she's not. There is no damn good reason for her.
I feel very angry with her. I'm just going to say it, because when we trekked all the way up to Albany, and you spoke in front of everyone, she had something the next day, a press conference, a big
Maureen,
Was it the State of the Union?
State of the
State of the
Union.
Union,
yes.
right?
State
Yeah,
of the-
right,
And
right.
she said maybe 2 sentences. And we spent all that time going up there, with our signs and getting her to listen. It's such
It's
a
not
slap
on her
in
radar.
the face.
No.
It's not on
No.
her radar at
No.
all.
Does she not
Now-
care?
Well, she lost a nephew to overdose. So she brings that up. And
As a nice talking point.
as a nice talking point.
Yeah.
So I would tell her, I would tell her quite
Put your
a few
money where your
things.
mouth is.
Yeah, put your money
You know,
where your mouth is.
absolutely, yeah.
You know, Governor Cuomo was Governor Cuomo. But let's say this. You know, when we worked with him, we had a Democratic Assembly and we had a Republican Senate. And they were forced to compromise always. He got things done. We got more done with him. And everyone left a little bit unhappy,
Yeah.
which is what you
That's-
call a really great
there you go.
compromise.
Yes.
And we got all our bills through with him. And
This is
he
everybody's
also-
problem. This
he
is not.
also struggled and
Yeah.
spoke about his daughters struggling
Yeah,
with it.
of course.
He was married to a Kennedy, so very familiar with substance use disorder. So, you know, he was committed. He knew how to get things done.
Yeah.
She has her own agenda for what she wants to do, and unfortunately, she bought New York City, and now we live with that mess and bail reform.
Oh, bail reform.
Yeah.
Well, the Fend Off Fentanyl Act is, let's maybe discuss that a bit, because that's a big one. And I don't understand why this is political.
It should not-
It's
No.
bipartisan
Yeah.
problem
Yes.
across the board.
Yep.
And so it should always be in that context, and it should be addressed that way.
110%.
Yeah.
These are problems of, you know, of health, of people's welfare, and there's no party sides to that.
No, it doesn't have any. There's no.
This is life and
discrimination.
death.
Yeah.
I just want to jump back to something you said in the first sentence that you said is that Thomas had to fail to get help.
Yes.
Can you? I know what that means, but can you?
So
Let's talk about
it
that a little
meant
bit.
that if Thomas needed really to go inpatient, they forced us to do outpatient. So, and it was he always had to go back to do outpatient, and he always failed at outpatient, and his drug use became greater and more frequent and all of those things, but he always had to fail. Now, I read the ASAM manual. So on helping someone else, I'll never forget, it was a Memorial Day weekend, and I had the woman on the phone from the insurance company, and she said, and I said, no, on page 6, whatever page it was, I read it to her. I go, have you read that? Because in there it says no one should ever be forced to fail at anything. You give them the appropriate level of care. So when you are fighting for your loved one, you need to go to the rails. You need never to take your foot off the gas.
And that's such a hard thing for people to do. It is hard to navigate. It's hard to deal with that when you have a loved one or yourself that is suffering, and you have to go fight to get them treatment, fight to get them in somewhere. It's
not
outrageous.
It's not the same if someone has cancer.
Right.
Or
Right.
never.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Scenario.
So, you know, the quickest and easiest way I always describe Thomas's Hope now is the place that I wish I had and my son had to be your best friend. Because I will hold your hand. The staff will hold your hand through that. We don't always have the answers, but we'll find them with you.
Right.
Not for you, but with you. And we will fight for you and with you to get your loved one to the next step.
Yeah.
Because it's so insidious, and you are completely lost, and your phone rings. And I remembered, you know, I was a single mom, and your phone would ring, and if I didn't recognize that number, I literally would throw up in my mouth because is this the phone call?
Yep.
What's going to happen? I don't, you know, and it's living on that edge and having to work full time.
Totally.
Right? And I'm a financial advisor, so it's not like I could be off for the day with my clients.
Yeah.
So, you know, had a lot of compartments in my brain and 2 other children. My daughter had a baby at 19, so I had a lot of things on my plate.
Yeah. I will never forget being dope sick, and I was laying in my old bedroom. Everything was dark. I was freezing cold, sweating, and I was trying so hard to get into detox. And for the life of me, I finally had my mom trying, and she was so fed up with the whole thing. She was fed up with all of it, you know. And that sticks out to me. It was so difficult in that time for me to do anything, and to have somebody like you in the position that you're in, willing to hold my hand as I'm trying to get help. We need so many more places like this.
And it's unfortunate because when you go to the emergency room, right?
Don't
and
get me
that's where
started.
you have to go.
I know.
So,
Ugh.
but you're not going to die from withdrawing from opiates.
Yep.
You'll want to kill yourself.
Yep.
But you're not going to die, and they let you go.
Yeah, because it's not
But-
a medical
There's so
necessity.
no-
I have brought to many different meetings, a 300-pound person can be brought in for, diabetes or anything, that have not lost weight, that don't follow the protocol that's given to them, and yet they are met with compassion and this and that. I
Do you know-
sat at a meeting, and there was an overweight man who was so discriminatory to everyone, and he was heavyset, and I said, right during the meeting, why are you so fat? And he got very indignant at me, and I said, he goes, do you think, I go, oh, it's not easy.
Oh, it's not your choice?
It's not easy to stop eating all your favorite foods and to exercise and to do all those things that you are required to do to lose weight. Wow, it almost sounds like substance use disorder.
Wow, good
Yep.
for you. You are.
He did apologize to me. I also, in that moment, I said, I could run faster than him if I have to get out of here. So that's how I measured my
yeah.
my decision to
When-
say it.
Am I going to say this? Yeah.
But what kind of message are we sending to people if you're showing up there with an opioid dependency and we say, well, you're not going to die from this, go back out there? Do you what is that saying?
Your life is not worth it.
It's not worth it. But if you come
Right.
in with alcohol in your system or barbiturates in your
We're gonna
system,
keep
we'll
you.
we'll take care of
Right.
you. I hate even saying this, but I've taken guys and here you have to drink this before you go in there.
You have to drink
It's the
this.
only
or
way, and you
take
have
a
to tell them
Xanax,
that
or,
you've been drinking.
Or benzodiazepines will get you in,
Yeah.
because these things
Benzos,
cause,
not barbiturates. That's what I meant.
These drugs, right, cause seizures.
Yeah.
So therefore, they have to keep you.
Yes.
Yeah, or
And you are also, though, treated. And I always remember, my son saying, you think I'm a scumbag. And I said, I don't think that.
Right.
You think that right now.
yeah.
And that's the sad part, because they
So
don't
sad.
like themselves, right? And they don't like who they've become, and they don't want to do this, and that every cell in their body is demanding that they do this.
And hurting.
And hurting.
And it's such a vicious cycle
It's
because
such a vicious
you never
cycle.
get the same high.
But they
like
are
the first
always
time.
treated like that in the emergency room, too. They are treated
Well,
as a subhuman.
Oh, maybe I didn't share with you guys, but I shared with the St. Joseph's kids yesterday that I brought somebody in. He was in precipitated withdrawals, and the guy, the intake nurse, said to him, he goes, so you were sober at one point? And the kid said, yeah, I was. And he goes, and you know what fentanyl is? Kid goes, yeah. And he goes, and you decided to go back out there anyway and give it another shot? And I lost it on this. I said, I don't know who you think you are, who you think you're talking to, but you obviously have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a choice that somebody makes. This is not, we don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
There are also many healthcare professionals that don't think that Narcan should be given.
Oh my God.
To people that have sustained an overdose. Like, why reverse them? We don't give out other drugs. We also do harm reduction at Thomas's Hope, and we go out into the homeless camps and we give a safe usage bag.
Yeah.
Because they cry for the Narcan because they want to save each other, and that doesn't mean that they want to use together and save. So that's what people say. Oh, people do that, and then they use Narcan. No, that's not what they're doing.
Right.
And we do this on the hopes that if 1 out of 10 says, "Can I change my life?" that they'll come in and change their lives.
And by giving out the Narcan, you're not condoning their use or encouraging them to use. They're going to use whether we give them the Narcan or not.
But we also give them, this whole clean syringe.
Yeah, of course.
All of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things, because you don't want the disease spreading.
Yeah.
You want to show, when you show compassion and love to people, they're much more apt
Goes a
to
long
want
way.
to change their
Especially when if
their
you're out
lives.
there and nobody is showing you love or compassion. Nobody's giving you the time of day.
Why would you want
you
to
are so less than and
You are so less than, but in these homeless camps, they have found each other
Yeah.
and they are family
Yeah,
now, as
yeah.
dysfunctional as that may be.
We had a good friend of mine on a while ago. Shout out to Wes if he's listening.
Wes.
And
I think of him all the time.
he was living in a tent for 2 or 3 years with his girlfriend. He came back to the tent. She had overdosed. Gave her Narcan. EMTs came. She died on the way to the hospital. Found out weeks later that she was pregnant. You know, it was just heartbreaking.
And it was on his birthday.
It was on his birthday.
Yeah.
You know, it was just heartbreaking.
That show,
And
Kurt, I will not forget that
Yeah,
show. And
yeah.
I can't stop thinking about Wes because there was something so special
He's a
about
sweet
him.
boy. Yeah,
Such
he's
a
great.
great kid. And my heart just broke for him.
Yeah.
And he reminded me of my brother
Yeah,
too
yeah.
a lot.
Yep.
You know, and so I just wish so much that people just had more compassion.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. It really breaks my heart that, you know, when I saw him on the street that day,
yeah.
oh, I was so heartbroken.
Yeah, yeah.
But
well, knock on wood, last time I
still-
talked to him, he was doing well, and he had about a month and a half clean and was looking for work. So I'm fingers crossed that he's still doing well.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, God bless you, Will.
yeah.
And Wes.
Wes. Yeah, Will too, though.
Will too.
Will was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we only have a couple minutes left, but is there anything you want to leave people with? Anything that we didn't? I mean, we didn't cover a lot, but
We covered enough, but I think that people need to get off their high horse and recognize that this is an island-wide problem. So we're here on
What's it
Long
gonna
Island,
take?
right? What's it going to take?
I-
What is it going to take?
Yeah.
When people sustain a fatal overdose, talk about that.
Yeah.
Don't make it out to be a heart attack or something else other than it was, because you are diminishing your loved one's existence. You are saying that there was something wrong with them and their disease, and that's not right. I always talked about my son, and, you know, fortunately, I got to go back to, my kids were raised in Kings Park, and I was very active in the school district, the parish, the everything. And when Thomas became active with that, we were no longer the all-American family.
of course not.
So I got to speak at that and say, my community turned their back on me. If Thomas had, you know, childhood cancer, they would have
Rallied. You would have had dinners.
spaghetti
and, yeah, of
dinners up
course.
my butt
Yep.
at my house. But you turned your back when I needed support and help the most, and so did he. Right? So we need to stop doing that. We need to, you know, just reach out and offer compassion and empathy. Not even compassion, empathy.
Smile at
know,
someone that you may look like
Exactly.
they're suffering. That smile can go a long way. I know how everyone can participate. So Carol Trottier, another advocate extraordinaire, and Lori Carbonaro and
Claudia Frizzell.
Yep, and Paulette are organizing for Fentanyl Awareness Day, which is on May 7th. Everyone go to the corner of 347 and Route 112.
By the old boxcar.
Yep, by the Chamber of Commerce. But we're not going to go there because we weren't allowed to, and that's another issue. But we are going to go on the sidewalk that is public property, and we are going to rally during 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. During commuter traffic, and then we're headed over to Thrive at 11 a.m. for a press conference. Special Agent in Charge Frank Tarantino will be speaking, Steve Chasman, Dr. Reynolds, I believe. But people, get out there, join us. Look for information on our Instagram. We will be posting it. Please join us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Linda, thank you so much. This has
Oh,
been
thank
absolutely
you.
incredible. We're going to have
Thank
to
you.
have you back on again because we just
Anytime.
the tip of the iceberg, you
The
know.
tip of-
yeah,
absolutely.
And I want to just applaud you on your strength, and that, like, you know, you are unwavering. Like you're a bull in a china shop, and that's
am.
what we need. You
You're
know,
a mover and a
Yeah.
shaker.
Yeah.
I've been called that since I'm a little kid.
Good.
I feel good because that's what they called me when I was a little kid.
And for the
so
record-
I like having that in common with
For the
you.
record, too, you know, she spoke in the beginning that Thomas was very sarcastic, and I can say adamantly that he gets that from his mother.
For sure. You're
So,
a firecracker
yes,
for
yes.
sure, Linda. And, you know, and I really do think, I mean, if you did run one day for something,
I'll vote.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll
my
vote
God,
for
you kidding
sure.
me? Yeah,
Yeah.
geez, this is what we need,
You'd
though.
be
You
a-
know, and this is, seriously, this is what we need: is somebody who has lived this, who won't back down, who isn't afraid of confrontation, and who's willing to take it where it needs to be taken.
You know, I've said it to, you know, when doing my advocacy, I already had the worst day of my
Yeah.
life, so bring it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm
Yeah.
not
Say what you
backing
want to
down.
say. Do what you want to
Let's
do.
go.
Yeah. Yep.
And
You've seen it all.
That's what it takes.
Yeah. And I think that scares people. I think that scares people in a position that they would be confronted by someone like you.
Absolutely.
You know, that's got to be terrifying for somebody who isn't doing what they need to be doing to
Yeah.
face somebody like you. So I applaud you and thank you for coming
Yeah,
on our
hey,
show.
just
Yeah,
round
thank
of
you so much.
applause.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yes,
guys.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
You're
My
doing
honor.
you're doing God's work.
Yeah.
You
Keep
really
it up.
are. You're an amazing woman. And
I'm God's favorite.
You are, huh? Oh, okay. All right.
I am. I'll take that title. I just say it.
That's so great. Aw, thank you so much again, Linda. And I sincerely thank everyone who supports our cause and understands how important it is to look out for each other and to empathize with anyone you know dealing with addiction. Let's continue to spread awareness about the dangers of illicit fentanyl and promote harm reduction tools like Narcan and fentanyl test strips. Reach out to us via Instagram at sbu.playitforward and check us out on Spotify for more recommendations.
If you are struggling with mental health or substance use, you are not alone. SAMHSA offers services and resources for substance use disorder. You can contact them at 1-800-662-HELP. SAMHSA also has a 24/7 info service at 1-800-487-4889. For additional help, you can visit Hope House Ministries online at hhm.org or call 631-928-2377. Thomas's Hope Foundation, you can check them out at thomas'shopes.org or call 631-817-HOPE. LICAD, the Long Island Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, offers support and guidance at 631-979-1700, and you can find more information at licad.org. Remember, your journey to healing and recovery can start with that first call. And please give us a follow on Instagram at sbu.playitforward, and also check us out on Spotify.
Yeah.
We are there now. Listen to our shows. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear about
Follow
it.
us,
Thank you.
yeah.
Please follow us. Yes. Sanjana?
Yeah, Stony Brook University has CPO, Center for Prevention and Outreach. I encourage everyone to check it out. They have a very user-friendly website. They offer fentanyl test strips, and there are also many other harm reduction organizations online, such as dancesafe.org, and they're also available on Amazon. LICAD of Long Island distributes fentanyl test strips as part of their free Narcan kits. Please have Narcan accessible. You can save the life of someone overdosing even when it's least expected. On behalf of Play It Forward, thank you all for listening. We invite you to join us on Instagram and YouTube. Our Instagram is sbu.playitforward and our YouTube is the Play It Forward Project. Yeah, we definitely hope to hear from you, and we hope that our message reaches somebody. So for now and always, keep
playing it forward. Also, keep an eye out for those Easter eggs around campus. If you see them, take a picture, tag us. We'd love to hear about it.
Thanks, Kurt. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And watch
again,
out for the
Linda.
olives.
Oh, you're so welcome. And watch out for the olives.
The olives. This is Allison of the Play It Forward Project. Tune into our next show on April 5th at 1 p.m. as we will be having the WAMs.
What are the WAMs?
The Warrior Angel Moms.
Wow.
Carol Chartier, Lori Carbonaro, Paulette, and
Claudia. Yes.
Yes. We're looking forward to having them on. So again, thank you, WUSB, Wizzy, and my co-hosts, Kurt and Sanjana. Our closing song is a very special one. Linda, would you like to introduce it? This is picked by Linda.
It's Memories by Maroon 5.
You are listening to WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 and 107.3 FM. Be well, everyone, and please look out for one another.